Yeah, oh, no, 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 no. Okay, we are just going completely off track. This is the current situation that we are in on lap 36. So there's still plenty of room left for improvement. Okay. Oh, not KKK, but you know what I mean. Welcome back to the 100 sub special. So normally it's not really a thing anymore to do sub specials, but to be honest, I just wanted a reason to torture myself in BeamNG, and here we are. Because I'm going to do one lap for every subscriber, and by the time I'm recording this, we have a total of 101 subscribers. But here comes the catch, because I let you guys decide what car I should use, and with a total of 25 votes, the Covet won. So buckle up, and also if you're new to the channel or you're just coming back anyway, just consider subscribing and leaving a like if you enjoy the content. Yeah. And here we are, 100 subs, which means we have to go around this test track right here 100 times. You guys wanted to see it, and here it is. This is the Ibishu Covet, and this will be our track weapon of the day. I think it's a standard 1.5 liter 4-cylinder right here, so no turbo, no nothing, and this will be our base for today's challenge. And honestly, I've never seen YouTubers do 100 sub specials anymore, because for most people it's such a small number, but you know, I was really happy when I clocked that 100 subscriber mark. So here we are, and I thought, in what way could I torture myself to satisfy these 100 subs? And yeah, here we are. But because I don't want to sit here for like 2 hours in this slow Covet, we have to modify it quite a bit and turn it into a full-on track weapon. I thought of maybe putting a turbocharger on the engine. I will leave that engine in there, so don't worry, we're not gonna make it too easy for ourselves, but maybe put on some better tires, you know, get rid of some weight in the interior, maybe give it a little spicy tune, but other than that, it will still be a Covet, and we will still take it around the track 100 times. So with that being said, let's get right to modding. Okay, so this is what I've came up with. You know, it's still a Covet at heart, but it's now a full-on track weapon. So as you can see, we fully gutted out the interior, we got the roll cage, the lightweight glass, the racing seat, as you know, that's the most important thing. And on the outside, I've basically done some modifications, so new bumper, new hood, we have some racing tires on the car with some matching brakes. And let's take a quick look under the hood. So I left the 1.5 liter engine in the car because I didn't want to add any more weight to the car, because this is a pretty tight track and we want to keep the weight as low as possible. And with a decent tune, this should get us up to around 300 horsepower, which should be enough for this track. Also, I haven't gone with the biggest turbocharger that was available, because if you have ever driven a front-wheel drive car that had a bit too much power, you know that it's a pain in the ass, because you just keep on spinning and you can't even steer when you're on the gas. I think this should be a pretty nice setup, and with that being said, let's just hop in the car, and other than that, I think we are ready to go. Okay, so I've set up the track, and we will be basically doing this with a rolling start. So let's rev up the engine, and we're off. Go around this corner, and as soon as we drive through that marker, our timer will begin.
Let's go.
So we will do this with a rolling start, so we can compare our 100th lap time to our first one. For the first lap, I'm just going to try to make a secure lap without crashing or any bad things, so we can have a good time to compare to our last lap. Also in the top right, you can see our little tracker right there. There you can see our current lap that we are in and the time. So we're on the last straight, brake early for the last corner, go around this corner, and just fully gun it into our second lap. And you know, this whole thing isn't just a sub special, it's also kind of an experiment, because, you know, it's an experiment of how good can you get with driving 100 laps on the same track. Because I don't think many people have ever done this in BeamNG, you know, because BeamNG is more like a, I know many people don't like to hear it, but it's a crashing simulator. Not only that, sure, but it's not really a racing game, you get what I mean. So I'm really stoked to see what I can do with my lap times when driving 100 laps on the same track. So we are already in our 5th lap and we haven't crashed yet, which could change any second if I'm too focused on my talking. Oh, okay, slight hit into the guardrail, but I don't think we have to reset yet. But we can still drive, so we will see how far we can get. Oh no! Oh, our back kinda comes loose right there. I mean, we are already on our 6th lap, but we haven't gotten any improvements on our lap time, which is pretty sad to see. Maybe I was already too focused on the first lap and I should have just taken my time a bit more. But, you know, there's always room for improvement. So let's just step on the brakes early, and we really have to get to know the braking points on this track, because especially in these S-curves right there, it's really important that you step on the brakes at the right point in time. I mean, we've spun last lap, but other than that, we are getting closer to our first time. Also, there's quite room for some mistakes right now, because in the first lap I was really going to play it safe, you know, but now when you go full out on the track, you always make some kinds of mistakes. But making mistakes on the track is kind of important to find your limit and to find your braking points and where you can step on the gas again. So I think after all these mistakes, at the end of the day, we are still getting better at the track. Wow, our first positive lap time. But going full out on that finish line already led us into a worse lap right after. I'm glad that you guys chose the Covet, because it's a really small car, and I think the Grand Marshal would have been really difficult to get around this track because it's just so big. And the Covet is just a light car that you can really turn into a track weapon, you know, just with the Civics in real life. But to set a decent lap time, we can't go fully flat out on the finish line, because when we do that, we will just overshoot the first corner, which we don't really want, because then we either end up in the grass or we will just spin out later or earlier. Also, you can really work well with the weight of the car, but I still have to find my braking points. I'm not satisfied with my lap yet, honestly. Also, you can see the one problem with powerful front-wheel drive cars is just that you have a bit of understeer when you step on the gas and into the curves. And that's why I've also haven't gone with the biggest turbocharger and biggest engine available, because when you have even more power, the tires are just gonna spin even more, and that's something we don't want. Okay, the times are getting greener and greener, but yeah, that's what I mean. We went a bit too flat out on the last straight right there, and then we just hopped into the grass like a little deer that is running from a car and wanted to meet nature again. I'm kind of getting the hang of it, but also I can't talk too much while racing, because otherwise you're just not concentrated too much on the track, you know what I mean? I mean, one good thing is that we get lighter with every lap, because, you know, we burn fuel. As long as we don't reset the car, we are losing fuel with every lap, which should lose us some kilos at the end of the day. Ooh! But not if we crash the car at the end of the lap. Oh, no, not reverse. But you know, as some people say, the R on your gear shifter stands for race. So you sometimes have to shift into race gear to really get the times dialed in. So it will basically guarantee you better lap times. Okay, so going into lap 25, which is basically 1/4 of the whole challenge done. Also, if you look at the top right at our times, you can see that we've improved by a bit more than a second now, which is not too good, honestly, for around 27 laps done. But you know, we have around 70 laps to go, so there's still plenty of room left for improvement. Yeah, oh, no. Okay, we are just going completely off track. I think I'm gonna have to pull myself out of here, otherwise I'm not getting out. We just ran a 1:45, which is like 1 minute more than our best lap time. I wonder what happened. But the problem is, even in third gear around this corner, we still have the problem with understeer. But still, this car is quite more enjoyable to drive around here than the Sunburst that we did in our first ever YouTube video, which you can also watch, but I'm not really recommending it because it's not that entertaining. But I really like how the Covet is driving here, because it's just so agile and light, but the power just seems right. Maybe we even have a little bit too much power, but then on the other hand, we wouldn't have enough power for the straight and would lose time there, so I don't know what's the better deal here. And also, we kept the 1.5 liter, we tried to keep the original spirit of the Covet, you know? Oh, and we've completely ruined that lap. Not into the tree. Do you know that feeling when you have to scratch your nose, but you really don't want to? But then the urge to scratch your nose just keeps growing, and at one point you just can't hold it back anymore. You know, we don't have any track limits. This is just... And maybe I've spoken too soon. This is the current situation that we are in on lap 36. And I still have to go over 60 laps. I don't know how I'm able to do this, man. But you know, everything for the 100 subs special. You gotta show these people that it's really worth subscribing. I hope at least that some of the subs are entertained. You know, you gotta welcome the new people to the channel. Oh, with your driving skills. We're going quite slidey with the Covet right there. Also, two things that really don't go well together is talking and racing, because either you talk and try to entertain the people and try to talk about what you are doing right now, or either you are setting good lap times. It's just one of the both. I can feel that this lap has potential. I can feel the potential. I can feel the potential. Okay. Oh, not KKK, but you know what I mean. But honestly, at the end of the day, yes, this is a subscriber special, but it's also a fun little challenge, you know. So if you want to try it out yourself, you know, just, or maybe you have some friends, just take some Covets or just some other shitty car that's not really a track weapon normally, and just build it into a full on-track tool and try to set the best lap times possible. Because as said before, it's normally not the BeamNG thing to set proper lap times. You normally do that in Assetto Corsa or maybe Gran Turismo or Forza. But racing in BeamNG is actually really fun. But one thing that's not quite fun is looking at the top right there and just seeing red numbers. Sure, there's that one green lap, but other than that, I'm just seeing red. Which kinda reminds me of my Dota playing history. Come on, we are slowly approaching the 50 lap mark, and maybe I have to step up my game and stop the talking and concentrate on the driving again. No! I'm slowly starting to regret my decision on this sub special. You know, the idea seemed fun on paper, but doing it now? Sure, it's fun, but you know, 100 laps is a lot. And also with trying to optimize your lap, you know, like in every corner, with every braking point, how do you do the gear shifts? I'm just making things worse, I think. Okay, we are approaching lap 50 now, so let's see what we really learned. Also, I'm sitting in such a weird position on this chair and my ass slowly starts to get hurt. Oh, come on. No. It's the same guardrail every time. Okay, I've repositioned myself, so now I am sitting differently, because as you know, your chair is the most important thing, and I don't have the best gaming chair, so it's obviously that I can't, you know, get the best lap times. Oh, and we... Basically, as soon as I look to the top right and I see a green number, I'm sure that I will crash in the next like 3 to 5 seconds. Seeing that green number on the top right is basically a curse at that point. But yesterday I saw someone with a screenshot. He basically posted it to my Discord server, so now I'm a bit confused on what's real. Does BeamNG have tire wear or not? Are the brakes fading in BeamNG or not? That would be a real interesting fact to see. I've heard that the BeamNG devs are working on more tire physics, but I don't know if tire wear is actually in the game right now or not. Also, we are slowly approaching lap 60 and we haven't seen any real improvements, so I think I'm going to really have to test out the track limits right there. Maybe go over the grass here and there, you know, just to keep some more momentum, keep some more speed. We are always close to our best time, but we are not there yet. And I really want that sub 44 second mark. Oh, what am I doing? A sub 40 time would actually be crazy, considering that would be around 6 seconds faster than our first lap. We are currently around 3 seconds faster than our first lap, which is not that much, but you know, it shows that I've been a good driver since the start. And as I already say, I'm a BeamNG pro player. Ooh, we were way too fast there. Yeah, we had a good lap and then we just threw it away. Also, one experiment that I would really like to do is driving... Yeah, but back to topic, one experiment that I would really like to do is maybe not drive 100 with each, but maybe drive 50 laps with a controller and then drive 50 laps with a wheel and then compare the results. But I don't know if it's possible to survive driving 50 laps with a wheel in BeamNG. I've never driven a wheel in BeamNG. Oh, no, I forgot to brake! Also, if you're wondering, you are getting the cut it up version of this. I'm already here for around 1 hour and 5 minutes. This is the madness that I do for a 100 sub special. That's how much I love these 100 subs. Some mistakes were made on our part. But we were so close to improving. I have to make a quick drinking pause. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't think it's possible to get to the sub 40 mark. Even though we are making some times here and there, I don't really think it's possible to get to that sub 40 mark. Oh, I can see a green number, which is usually not a good sign. It was indeed not a good sign. Oh, I've braked way too late. Also, this is not a sustainable, you know, sub special. Because what am I going to do at 1000 subs? I can't drive 1000 laps. Maybe if I find like the smallest NASCAR track in BeamNG. Whoa, I've never been so fast through this section of the track. Come on. I'm not going to look at the time at the bottom in the top right. So just fully gun it through here. Brake early for this corner. Just don't make any mistakes. There is no room for mistakes now. Brake. Go into the inner circle here. Into third gear. I was kind of late on the shifting right there, and I also braked too early. I'm going to look at the time. Oh, 1.8 seconds earlier. 0.42 seconds. Oh. Bro, where are we going? Oh! Our engine is inside the cabin. Okay, since I'm sure we already have about 101 subscribers, this is going to be our final lap. Come on, come on, come on. I really hope you enjoyed today's torture, because it really was torture for me. And let's see what our last lap time will be. I can already see a red number at the top right, so it's not going to be another record. And the last time on the final straight. 3, 2, 1. And we are done. Let's spark this baby up really quick. Okay. Wow. You can see it. 101 laps driven. Our first lap had a time of 45.6 seconds and our best time was in our 95th lap with a time of 41.577 seconds. So we improved by a bit more than 4 seconds, which is alright. I honestly expected there to be more room, you know, for improvement, but you know, what can I say? My first lap was just so good that there was nothing left to improve on. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments if you are part of these 100 subscribers, and I'll see you guys next time.